Taking phone calls today on Kababayan LA talking about immigration. So any of your immigration concerns answered by Attorney Allison Aquino, and family law. So many things going on in the family law arena as well, right? To be answered by Attorney Jesus Silva here joining us as well on the show. A lot of say for example, I am a wife of an OFW who moved here. He cheats on me and I want to claim support for my kids that he left behind. Is that possible?
Well, for spousal support, absolutely it is, because you can get a judgment in the Philippines for child support or even spousal support, and of course get that enforced here in California, and directly garnished against his wages if he's an employee here in California.
When you say garnished, so directly deducted from his wages,
exactly,
right?
without having to go through him.
Right.
Precisely.
How long does it take?
Oh, a handful of months, not too long, and it's not a very simple process either. So again, in that case, I would obviously recommend somebody highly go to an attorney.
Right. Can you consult with somebody from the Philippines? They just email?
Absolutely. Either email or telephone or by fax, anyway.
Because I hear of that cases like a lot. Like husband or wife comes here to work and then cheats and then just forgets about the family back in the Philippines.
There is some additional difficulties in trying to get the child support, though, because if the child is not here in California, there's a good chance that a judge will say that we lack jurisdiction.
Right.
Nevertheless, even if the child were visiting here for some semblance of time, and if the judgment was started when that child was here in the United States, you could definitely try to get child support. And it's actually, the onus is upon the responding party to deny that the child is actually here in the United States.
Right.
So it behooves a party, even in the Philippines, to say that a child is at least visiting or could be staying here for a while, at least for residency purposes.
And then you can claim child support.
Exactly, even if that child later leaves the country.
All right, thank you for clearing that up.
And I'd say in that situation, the bigger factor is going to be spousal support. A lot of individuals don't quite understand, because of the fact that there's no divorce in the Philippines. Usually the wife is left behind,
right,
and has absolutely nothing, and individuals don't quite understand the rights to spousal support.
So you can actually go after the spouse for spousal support.
Yes.
All right. We have a caller on the line. I guess this is an immigration question. Hi, Nita.
Hi. I want to know whether, my question ako sa immigration, kasi yung anak ko, pinetition ko na, nagkuha anak ko ng lawyer. After that, 7 years na, sabi nila pupunta na dito sa Amerika. After that, nag-send sila ng letter sa akin na mayroon na daw na mag-ready ka na kasi anong petition na ready. After 2 weeks, may sulat ako sa immigration na from now on, ang anak ko daw na single, na petition ko, pupunta daw dito 13 years from beginning this year. Totoo ba yan?
Yan. Sana si Attorney Allison ang pinuntahan mo. But so now we avoid that confusion. But Allison, is that a typical case?
I didn't understand a little bit of the facts.
Oh, okay, so she petitioned her child through the lawyer, and the lawyer said, coming. After 7 years, the lawyer said, be ready because your child is arriving. And then, but then 2 weeks ago, she got a letter from INS or immigration, I guess, saying that the child will be here from 15 years from today or something like that.
It doesn't sound as if the facts might be accurate because, well, first of all, the time estimates that are provided by attorneys are estimates. Okay. The time periods do fluctuate significantly.
So it is the attorney's responsibility to remind you of these fluctuations in time, right? That's why we have the calendar.
Right. There is a visa bulletin, and depending on your contract, of course, with your attorney as to the extent of services that they will provide, you do need to monitor about how long the waiting period is. Usually, however, it would not differ between 7 years and 15 years, which actually would be 22 years, depending on that situation.
Wow, that's a long wait.
It really depends on the category that the child is being sponsored. On behalf of a child, it's either going to be a child who's being petitioned by a green card holder, at which point in time the current waiting period is about 11 years total. If the child is being sponsored by a U.S. citizen, the waiting period presently is about 15 years.
Okay. So it's better not to file for your U.S. citizenship first if you're filing a petition for your son or daughter?
Correct.
Oh.
Yes, and the Philippines is the one country in the entire world where it is better if your child is single and over age that an individual should petition as a green card holder and not as a U.S. citizen.
What about right after the petition? Do you have to wait for the petition to get approved before you file for your citizenship?
No.
Oh.
You can go ahead and proceed with your U.S. citizenship so long as the petition has been received and is pending with the Immigration Service.
As a green card holder?
As a green card holder, then it will not lengthen the waiting period. So I suggest that the individual perhaps consult with an attorney in order to see truly what is the expected waiting period.
The attorney might have to see all these letters, right? Because there might be underlying things there that maybe we don't understand when we read it because we're not lawyers.
Right.
Yeah.
And perhaps there might have been a miscommunication or misinformation that was put in the application. Who knows?
Right. I guess we've been talking about that. It's very important that you get in front of a lawyer to state your case so they can tell how they can help you. That's the number to call on the screen for either Attorney Alison Aquino or for Attorney Jesus Silva. If you want, they give free office consultations, so you have to call them and schedule your appointment right now. Thank you so much for joining us today on the show and explaining those laws to us. Very confusing indeed, and more power to both of you. Thank you for joining us, and we have 30 seconds on the show. Thank you so much for joining us today on the show. Sana po marami kayong natutunan. We have more for you tomorrow here on Kababayan LA, but for now, enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll see you again tomorrow. This has been Janelle So, your Kababayan in Los Angeles.